Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Elise. I've been living in Japan for 10 years now, and I've very recently decided that I need to step up my Japanese writing game. So I've decided to create this series for myself, really, to keep track of my progress as I try to become a better writer of Japanese and try to have better handwriting, which they call bimoji, I think, in Japanese. So, why I decided to focus on writing. In terms of reading and conversation, my Japanese level is pretty high. I don't think, while there's always, like certain grammar arrangements that I may not be familiar with or that I might struggle with, I think I could easily rectify those problems if I continue to just read news articles and information in Japanese. I don't really think I need to sit down and start writing out lines of grammar points. I don't think that would really help me. But I know that writing in Japanese is very much a weak point for me because I did not learn Japanese formally in a school. So I've never had a class that made me sit down and write Japanese. Most of my Japanese that I've ever written has been on a computer, so it's very easy to do on a computer. But unfortunately, that means my handwriting has suffered and that it still looks rather childish, at least to me. So I would really like to step up my handwriting so that it looks like an adult wrote it. Unfortunately, that means that I need to find other venues of study because Shota, my husband, who I live with, Shota has terrible handwriting. His mother tells me that all the time. His sister tells me that all the time. So I don't really have anyone at home that can teach me. Instead, I'm going to try to use YouTube and books from the dollar store to see if it can help me figure something out. It looks, from what I've seen, it looks like repetition is the most important way. From what I've seen, of my niece and nephew, when they're learning Japanese, they have to write a kanji, probably, it's going to be hundreds of times by the time they're an adult. But the repetition on writing hiragana, katakana, and kanji is really what helps, solidify the correct writing order and the correct, the haneru, or they have all these names for the different things you have to do to the characters when you're writing them. So basically, I'm going to be trying to work on all of those things. For my studies, I prepared just a bunch of materials that I actually had lying around my house. I didn't really have to go out and buy anything except for the workbook. But you can see here I have my Osomatsu notebook. Osomatsu was a popular TV show a few years ago, but this is what the notebook I'm using to take notes down from YouTube. And I also have this Bimoji workbook that I got from the dollar store. It's filled with explanations on how to write, and it was only 100 yen. I also have a bunch of pins that I've just collected over the years. Fountain pens, brush pens. Actually, these brush pens I use for drawing, but the handwriting notebook said they would be useful for practicing, so I've taken these out to use as well. So the first step in my study process is to watch a YouTube video about how to write beautifully in Japanese. Luckily, there are literally thousands of videos, so I will probably not run out of videos before I get sick of writing Japanese. But I try to pick the video that has a decent number of views and has a pretty easy to understand explanation. The video I used for this video was a 12 tips to writing better kanji, I think, or writing beautiful kanji, and the creator broke the process down into 12 steps. That's honestly quite a lot of steps, so you can see me here trying to write them down. I pause the video and go back as I need to try and copy the kanji that he's using or try to write down points of his explanation that I want to keep for my own notes. But I think overall, this is great listening practice for your own Japanese, and reading practice because he does put things on the video, but I try to listen to the tips he's giving and then implement those tips into my writing so that I'm, just putting to use the information that I'm given as soon as I'm given it, even if I can't do it correctly. The next step in my study will be to use this Bimoji workbook for at least 10 minutes. It was my first day when I made this video, so I really wanted to just read through the first few pages, which were the introductions and like the goals that the book is setting out to accomplish. So in this way, my reading and comprehension skills also get worked at while I'm actually trying to focus more so on my writing skills. It's kind of like a 3 birds with 1 stone kind of deal.
美しく書く3つのコツ。カタカナ。漢字を美しく書く。熱語。かなまじり。
The introduction for this book was really long, so for the first day, I think I spent a lot more time just reading the tips and the kotsu, which is like the tricks that you can use, not tricks, but things that you should do to have better handwriting. I didn't really get to write that many kana down that day. So even though this book was only 100 yen, or basically $1, it's very thorough in the way it goes about teaching you how to write beautifully. It tells you how you should be holding your pen and how you should be seated when writing. So here I'm trying to mimic the correct pen holding style and trying to make sure that I'm seated and ready to get into my writing practice. Here I'm working through some of the warm-up writing practice blocks. I don't know what to call them, but the book suggested practicing writing these parallel lines, going vertically, horizontally, and then in zigzag shapes to help you, I guess, train your hand and your eye to the spacing needed, because you want to have equal spacing when you make vertical and horizontal lines when writing kanji. So I think this practice is supposed to help you with that. I don't know how many times you're supposed to do it, but I decided that I would be trying to fill up a page with the vertical, the horizontal, and then another page for the zigzag and swirly doos. The third step in my whole study outline was to be rewriting the notes that I took in the first step from the YouTube video. I wanted to be rewriting those in a gridded notebook. A gridded notebook has like squares and stuff. I'll show you later. I wanted to be taking those notes and rewriting them in a gridded notebook so that I can focus on making sure that the kana shapes, the curves, the straight lines, vertical, horizontal, all of that was following the steps that I had learned. But since this was the first day and I had to read through the whole intro of the workbook, I decided instead to just focus on applying those practices to the hiragana that were written in the beginning of the notebook. And this was a lot harder than I thought. Like, I know my hiragana, so I figured it would be pretty easy to make sure that the curves followed the placing in the grid shape, but it was a lot harder than I imagined, and it kind of frustrated me, actually. Here you can see me working in the gridded notebook. There are tiny squares. They get pretty small all over the page, and you can use these squares to guide where parts of the kana or kanji start and stop. And at the end you can see I've filled up a entire page, a whole page. It's not very well done, but like I said, Japanese is about repetition, and I will basically be writing hundreds of these for the next few months. So I finished practicing for today. I did way more hours than I planned on doing, but it's the first day, so I think I just wanted to try different things and see which one felt like it was the most useful. Obviously, I am a novice when it comes to writing Japanese just because I haven't been trained to do so since I was a child. So I just have to keep trying to see what works. If I can get out to the dollar store, I would like to pick up some more of these books, but every time I go is a crap ton of people and I don't want to go anymore. So I might try to buy some books off of Amazon to see if I can get a bit more guidance, because this one is good, but it doesn't have the lines in the square, so I can see like exactly how high up I should make circles or lines and stuff like that. So if it had that, it would be more useful, but obviously it's for grown-ups and they don't need all of that. So I'll probably look on Amazon for some books for children that has all the lines, so I can see exactly where everything needs to go. And I'll probably start practicing with those. But for now, since I already have a book and I have tons of notebooks, I'll do what I can on my own. That'll probably be all for this video. Please let me know if you guys have any advice on materials for how to write Japanese. Obviously, my method is for people that are advanced, that can at least read Japanese, because all of the books that I plan on using will be in Japanese. All of the videos that I plan on watching will be in Japanese, made for Japanese people. So if you're just learning how to write Japanese, these steps might not help you. But if you are already proficient in the language and you just want to practice your writing, try these steps out and let me know what works for you. Or if you have any suggestions of things I should try, also let me know. I am open to suggestions. And I think I will do an update blog in a month. It'll be another month before I do an update blog for this, because I really want to try to practice, not every day because my hand is tired now and I still have to draw things and I want to practice guitar, so I don't want to tire out my hands so much. But I think I will do this every other day, at least a few times a week if I can. So hopefully by the time I make the next video, we'll see some progress. We hope.